race of the day and of the weekend for the Mazda MX-5 Championship. So, of course, the grid's set by the results of race 2. And we're getting set for what should be a mega final race. After it was very close in the second one, is the third one going to even be able to top that? Well, Jack Brewer then is going for the hat-trick, a la Sam Smith, but he'll have Brian Trott alongside him this time on the front row of the grid. Then it's next going to be Sebastian Fisher and Oliver Allwood, followed by Matt Pollard and Jason Greatrex. Then Steve Foden, and then this time, starting from the fourth row of the grid, Fraser Fenwick. What can he do now, as he was arguably the fastest man on track on that last race? Can he come up high from 8th and possibly even get himself into a race-winning position? Zach Oates and Oliver Graham come next on the 5th row of the grid. Watch for Zach now, he's as high as 9th on the grid there. From Callum Greatrex and Owen Mills, followed by Adam Craig and Tim Dorr. Then it's Paul Bateman and Kevin Dengate to round out the top 16 runners on the 8th row of the grid. Then the top 20 finished off by Michael Green, Richard Wooten, Bryn Griffiths and Oak Richardson. Then it's Bo Parry and Aaron Dellapala, followed by Ollie Walden and Michael Pearce on the 12th row of the grid. Moving backwards into row 13 is Christopher Ginn, Brad Jones, Richard Bartlett, Graham Rumsey and Luke Pullen looks set to be the last car that will start this race. I think we possibly had a couple of cars who weren't able to make it between races 2 and 3, so therefore we have 29 all set to get started for race number 3. So just seeing the shot, that was the quick still there of the Super Cup cars never coming back in, but here's the shot we see now live of our cars making their way around on the formation lap, just weaving from side to side to get some tyres, temperature and pressure into the tyres, and getting a bit more temperature into the brakes as well to get them into the optimum operating range. And so they make their way around on this formation lap. And as you mentioned, we've still got rounds to go this year. We've still got Cadwell Park that will be next for the MX-5s at the end of August. We've then got the end of September where we head to take to Donington Park, which is always a thrilling circuit for the Mazda MX-5s to visit. It's been a title decider for many times. Whether or not it'll be a title decider this year, given the fact that it's quite close, remains to be seen. And of course we then have, as we had last year, the season finale being at the Formula Ford Festival, the 50th anniversary of the Formula Ford Festival, on the 30th and 31st of October on the Brands Hatch Indy Circuit, which is where the title was decided at the time in dramatic fashion, where Oliver Allwood was provisionally given the title, and then subject to some ongoing discussions and ongoing procedures in the background, it was then subsequently given to Joe Wiggin after an overturned penalty from a race earlier on in the season. So Snetterton so far has produced some spectacular racing for the MX-5s, and I'm sure that the spectators around the circuit have been thoroughly enjoyed by the action that they provided, both in all 3 championships, the Clubman Championship, the MX-5 Championship, which we're seeing here, and the MX-5 Super Cup. And so the Clubmans and the Super Cup Championships have finished for their afternoon. It's now the MX-5 Championship to round off the Mazda part of the show. And as we say, we'll have a short break before we then get things underway for the first ever BRSCC Super Sport Endurance Cup race. Just as they come to the grid, quick mention, of course, once again to our brilliant partners and sponsors, runyourfleet.com. You can just see a glimpse of the Jaguar XF Sport Brake safety car, just about middle of shot, the white car just behind the rescue unit. That's the safety car, and it's of course been provided by our partners runyourfleet.com, and they are the most cost-effective and flexible way to buy, lease and manage everything you need for your fleet of company vehicles through their managed fleet services. And they can help you with everything through breakdown cover, fleet management, risk management and fleet funding to the latest telematics, rental and short lease options. Run Your Fleet has every solution for your fleet requirements. If you're a business that requires to run a fleet of vehicles or a fleet of cars, they can help. All you need to do is get in touch. So head to the website, runyourfleet.com. You can also get in touch by phone or by email, also on their social media channels. And there's also a great 2.5-minute explainer video just covering everything that they do on their YouTube channel as well. So do be sure to give them a like and a follow on social media. Go and check that out on YouTube. And yeah, do go show them some love and support, not just for supporting the club, but for providing us with that brilliant Jaguar safety car as well. We will see it in action, I'm sure, to lead the cars away around for the Super Sport Endurance Cup race later on, coming up shortly this afternoon. But until then, we haven't needed it so far today, which has been quite that. Now, whether I've cursed it or whether it's an omen for this final race, I hope it's not. But so far, it's been quite a great day of racing, which has been relatively trouble-free. So, 5-second board is up. And the final race of the day, then the third and final race at Snetterton for the Mazda MX-5 Championship, has Brewer and Trott on the front row of the grid. Can it be 3 in a row for Brewer, or will someone else snatch it from him in this final encounter? We're underway here in Norfolk for the final time in Mazda MX-5s. Now the sprint down towards Ritchie's corner begins. And is Jack Brewer going to hold on to the lead? The answer is no, because Trott, again from the outside of the front row, has beaten Jack Brewer away. He looks to the inside line to try and regain it. And I think Fraser Fenwick, with a mega start from the fourth row of the grid, is he third already by the time he got to Ritchie's? We'll find out when they come through towards Wilson for the first time. Down towards the hairpin. And the answer is, it was Sebastian Fisher who got through, because he has also got quite a purple car. Fraser Fenwick is in some way side by side with Steve Foden, I can spot. There's Callum Greatrex in car 34. He's under threat from Zach Oates. He's got him to his inside line. Waiting for them through Palmer for the first time, and it's still going to be Brian Trott that leads. Yes, it is. So Brian Trott leads the way then. Jack Brewer in second place. For third, it could be three abreast. Here they come. It's then Fisher in third position. Up the inside for fourth, and possibly third comes Oliver Allwood. He's got Greatrex to his outside. Steve Foden just behind him. And Allwood's going for third. He went up the inside of Greatrex, but also saw that Fisher was going to leave the door open and goes straight up the inside to get past both of them. Has he done it? Yes, I think he has. Yes, he's got through. So there goes Trott, Fisher, Brewer. Yes, Allwood is into third place. There's Matt Pollard going around the outside of his teammate Fraser Fenwick, puts two wheels onto the grass. He's now on the inside for Oggies, as Foden also has to lock up and avoid contact with Jason Greatrex. Now around the outside goes Fraser Fenwick. And because Fenwick, remember, started in 8th position, and he was one of the fastest men at one point, had the fast lap of the race as Steve Foden got all over the curb on the exit through Williams' corner there, and almost lost the back end sliding into Steve Foden, but he managed to hold on to that. So Fenwick is up to 6th position, and Zach Oates is about 9th or 10th. He's tucked in behind Matt Pollard, who is side by side with Oliver Graham. But now, more importantly, Brian Trott is ahead of Jack Brewer, but we've been here before with Fraser Fenwick in that first race. Somehow, in that first race, Brewer always finds a way to sneak back through as Oliver Graham runs wide on the exit there, just mid-pack. He's under threat. He's now about to be overtaken there by Zach Oates, exiting through Nelson. Couldn't quite manage it there as Oates slots back into position. Now back through the right-hander. And 5th, 6th and 7th, nose to tail now. It's currently Greatrex, then Fisher, so for Fenwick. And then it's Steve Foden. Then it's Matt Pollard in 8th position. 9th is then Oliver Graham. And 10th, it appears to be, is Zach Oates. So, down the pit straight for the end of the first lap. And it's going to be, well, at the moment it's Brian Trott, but Jack Brewer's at it again. He's going to go for the lead into the right-hander. Meanwhile, Fenwick is on the charge. He's got past Steve Foden. Now he's going up the inside of Jason Greatrex, tries to squeeze his way through. Oh, and there's more cars running wide on the exit. One of them I think was Kevin, well, I couldn't quite tell who was just, but I think Callum Greatrex. The other one I think was Zach Oates. But Greatrex now side by side with Foden, so he has capitulated and let the charging Fraser Fenwick through. And looking at Matt Pollard, a great exit from Wilson Hairpin. It might pull him alongside Foden, but at the last minute he dips back in behind and thinks, nope, I'm going to hold on for the time being. So now Jack Brewer, now he's settled in after he lost the lead off the start. Now putting himself into attack mode now as they come down towards Agostini for the second time. Here goes Steve Foden, look to the outside. Greatrex puts his car right in the middle of the circuit to try and avoid any possible attack from the cars behind, because he knows he's got Foden and Pollard and Graham and possibly Zach Oates stacking up behind him. So he's got to try and get his elbows out here as the rather rapid Welshman, who himself will also be in the mix for the Masters contest as well. Now again, because we didn't have the planned break, we didn't get a chance to put in, I didn't get a chance to put in the results of race 2 to try and figure out who was where coming into this race. But of course we saw that Jack Brewer took another 100 points. Brian Trott picked up 98, and I think Ollie Allwood picked up third. So no, Fisher got third, forgive me. So that was 96 points for him, and Ollie Allwood I think got fourth. So that was 94. So down towards the back straight they go. There's the bridge, and it's still Trott that leads then. He's got about a car length or so over Brewer this time. And Brewer, now that Trott's been released, he's now coming under threat from Ollie Allwood. So remember we had this in the final race, in race 3 at Anglesey, where he got beaten away from a line, did Jack, and then very slowly but surely was caught by the cars behind and started getting knocked down towards the back of the top 5. So wasn't the way Jack wanted to finish it, but as they now come out through the left-hander, the top 5 and all nose together. Now, Fraser Fenwick is on the back of these first few cars, so he might well put himself into the mix for a podium. That would be a really nice way to end his day after he would kind of, for whatever reason, had that second place. He had second place in race 1, had to fight his way through from the back of the grid in race 2 for reasons we're not sure. Maybe Lindsay can possibly find out if he does make it onto the podium in this third race. But trying to make his way back to these front runners, and we saw how much he was trying to close in when the top 7 were all together in that second race. He got very close in the end. And how agonising was that he couldn't get himself in the mix. But he is firmly in there now. He's right behind Sebastian Fischer, who in turn has had quite a healthy day. 2 third places. That will do his points tally no harm. He's now just having a little poke around the back end of Ollie Allwood's car. So Trott still leads then, down towards Agostini for the 3rd time. Brewer 2nd, Allwood 3rd, Fischer 4th. Here's a Fenwick 5th. Just sense there's possibly something there. There's Christopher Ginn, who I think has either had a moment or someone towards the back. So top 5 all together. You just sense that they're all just something bubbling away under the surface here. There's possibly a chance for a bit of an absolute barnstorm of a scrap that's about to happen here, I imagine. Either I've just made the greatest prediction ever, or that's a huge anticlimax. But I hope it's the former, or something along the lines of the former, because we'd love to see these guys go at it for the duration of the race in this front-running battle. There goes the top 5. It's wonderful to see just how evenly matched these 5 cars are, and just how close and how competitive this year's MX5 Championship is becoming, because it's not just, yes, Jack Brewer is leading the way, but there are races now when he's shuffled back into the backwards in that leading group and having to force to get his elbows out and find that little bit extra. He's not being allowed to really pull it. But he hasn't actually, if I'm correct, he hasn't actually won all 3 races in one weekend so far yet. In fact, no, yes, sorry, no, I'm being stupid. Yes, he has. That was Croft at the beginning of the season. Come on, Scott, get it right. You should know this. You're around MX5s all the time. So he has won all 3 races in one season already. That was at Croft at the beginning of the season. He won 2 at Anglesey. Didn't have the greatest weekend at Silverstone. He had a contact with, of all people, Brian Trott, which I know Brian was very apologetic about after that race. And then he had contact at the beginning of race 2, which put him down the order, and then a really forgettable race 3. But he's bounced back nicely at Anglesey with 2 wins, and was around the top 5 positions in the 3rd race when Ollie Allwood went on to win that one. And so far here in Norfolk, he's kind of managed to get back at what he couldn't manage at Snetterton a couple of years ago when he was battling away with his teammate Joe Wiggin when he picked up a couple of 2nd places at the time in 2019. And that was his best result, his best weekend to date. But now, of course, he's had bigger and better weekends in the MX5 Championship since then. Battle here going on. Zach Oates having a scrap with one of the Great Rexes. Also in there's Oliver Graham in the 24 car, the blue car with the orange striping. And also, as well, you saw Adam Craig in there too as well. Jason Greatrex is in there. Now then, I predicted that might happen. Here we go. Now down to 3rd place has gone Jack Brewer. He's about to lose it in a second to Fraser Fenwick. He looks up the inside into the hairpin Agostini, and he's almost through. Yes, so Jack Brewer shuffled down to 4th. Is it going to be 5th this time? Sebastian Fischer might finally be able to get past Jack Brewer in a race this time. So the double race winner, championship leader, is now being pushed down the bottom of the top 5. He's lost out now just to both Ollie Allwood and now Fraser Fenwick. It is an AB Motorsport 1, 2, 3, so that'll put a smile on Ali Bray's face. Seeing 3 of his cars in the lead here. How great would that be to round off his weekend? I know him and his partner Nicky have recently had a child recently, so congratulations to them. And how great a present would that be for the weekend to round it off with all 3 cars in the top 3. Well, they're about to fight amongst each other in a second because Fraser Fenwick is on the tail of him as they head down towards on the tail of Ollie Allwood down towards Brundle and Nelson. And Jack Brewer, though, he's out of the tow and under threat from Fischer, who's got through. So Jack Brewer has been really literally shuffled to the back of the top 5. He's got some work to try and recover here, and all that battling is, particularly getting held up with Fischer, has forced both of them to lose time to the 2 AB Motorsport cars in front. So up through Coram then. This is now on the, I think, 3rd or 4th lap. I'll double check my timing screen to get that right for you. We're now on lap 4. This is the end of lap 4 now. Fraser Fenwick has the fastest lap of the race. Last time they came across the line. Oops, that's Paul Bateman. I think he's had a trip across the grass or a spin. But that's the reigning Masters champion that's hit some trouble briefly. There's Owen Mills battling away with Callum Greatrex out of Murray's. Down the pit straight they go. Look at that pat from Pollard backwards, hugging the pit wall as they come down towards Ritchie's once again for the 5th time. End lap 4. Down the inside goes Steve Foden. They're in a little private battle for position. This is over 6th place. So up into 6th place. It looks like it's on Steve Foden, but now they're both under attack from Jason Greatrex, who thinks, right, can I come and play, boys? Up the inside of both of them, and he's taken the pair of them into Wilson Hairpin. That was cheeky. So he's now gone from 8th to 6th in one move. He's caught them both unawares, and this might even bring Zach Oates into play, because of course Zach Oates has ever the opportunity, so he can try and squeeze through. Now this is interesting as well at the front. So everyone's closed back up again a little bit, because it looks like Fennick has Fennick has got past Allwood. Allwood is now under threat from Fisher. Brewer sitting back in 5th position, trying to get back into this fight. Here's the scrap for 6th going on between Jason Greatrex and the red and white 33, the white, black and red car of Matt Pollard, and the black and gold car of number 77, Steve Foden. They're also being caught by Zach Oates and Oliver Graham and Adam Craig. And Owen Mills isn't too far away either. And he might also bring Callum Greatrex into play as well. So just as we had in that big scrap for 6th position in the Super Cup race, we might be about to get it with another big battle pack in the Mark 1s this time. So into Williams they go then for the 5th time. Just under 9 minutes to go in this final MX-5 race of the day here at Snetterton. It's been a mega day of MX-5 racing. It's still carrying on. Oh, Steve Foden. Oh dear. Now then, Zach Oates was going for the move, and Steve Foden just really sent him right to the edge of the circuit on the grass. I'm sure Zach will have something to say about that one. I'm not sure he wouldn't have appreciated that very much. That's for sure. That was, I have to admit, that was a bit cheeky from Steve there. That was Zach had quite a bit of momentum, and then Steve did try to push him all the way to the grass there to try and defend the position, but Zach had the momentum, so I think Zach wants to try and pass him back here. Looking up the inside of Corey, he might well try and get his elbows out here in a minute. But it's quite hard and fast racing here in the MX-5 Championship, as you can tell. So here's the second half of the top 10, 6th down to 10th. Adam Craig's not too far away in 11th place, as we said, and Owen Mills is in there too. Now then, Fraser Fennick has begun to run away with Brian Trott here, because those two are at the top of the top of the timing table, half a second between them. Ollie Allwood still 3rd, so it's still an AB Motorsport 1-2-3. Jack Brewer has got back into 4th place, ahead of Sebastian Fisher. This is where our big battle is happening here for 6th down to 10th. So there are our leaders. So Fisher's back down to 5th position again. Brewer's back up to 4th, so he's off the podium at the moment. He's still got 7.5 minutes to correct this. So let's see what happens. Here's the top 2. Now, Brian Trott hasn't won a race so far this year. He's come close several times, but he hasn't quite managed it. Fraser Fennick has won once, and that was at the first race of the weekend at Silverstone on the second meeting. That was back in June, so just about a month and a half ago. 3rd, 4th and 5th, Allwood. Just with Brewer still in contention here, because these two on drop scores came into the weekend as the top 2 in the championship, and Allwood would love to get himself ahead of Brewer and take a couple of points away. Of course, this won't be the worst results that Brewer will have had, because those 3 drop scores that he's dropping is pretty much the entire Silverstone weekend, because he, as I mentioned earlier on, he got tipped into a spin on the last lap, not intentionally, I can stress, by Brian Trott. I know he was, on the post-race interview, he was incredibly apologetic. He really didn't want that to happen at all. So Brewer lost points on that one. He also lost points after collision. I think it was with Aston Wigley and Zach Oates, I think, in the second race at the beginning. And then in the third race, he dropped back further back. But I think he's about to take 3rd away from Ollie Allwood. Yes, he does. So he goes round the outside into Brundle Nelson. Oh, and there's a bit of a stack up there. Sebastian Fisher, I think, trying to get on the power, and Ollie Allwood was trying to get back up the inside of Brewer, which he does. Through the bomb hole he goes. So they're back to where we started again. Here comes Fisher thinking, can I come through, boys, as well? I want to try and get a position up and maybe back onto the podium, because, of course, he's had 2 third places today. If he can get a 3rd one, that'd be a great way to round off the weekend for Sebastian. Top 2 are nose to tail as well. So Fraser Fennick, if he can keep pushing Brian, either these two are going to start to work to run away, or they might start to go into combat in a second here. There's 5.5 minutes to go, just over. Here comes Fisher. Side by side with Brewer as the top 2 go side by side, and Trott just puts his car, quickly moves to the middle, tries to defend the position. Here comes Brewer, who I think, rather than attacking Allwood, is just defending on the inside line for Fisher, who wants to take the racing line and get the better momentum off the corner for the sprint down to Wilson Hairpin. So where are they in the shot? There they are. A bit further back, I think saw shot of Bo Parry there for a second. Now as they head under brakes again, this is the scrap that's been going on for the last few laps for 6th, which is still going on between Greatrex, Pollard, then Steve Foden, Zach Oates is in there as well, and Car 145 and Oliver Graham. I think they've also now been caught by Adam Craig, and not quite Owen Mills, but Adam Craig is in there. He was half a second away in closing in every corner. There goes our scrap for third, just through the middle of the shot. Just behind our top two, which is still Trott and Fenwick. It's now a 6-car scrap for 6th position down to 11th. Here comes Pollard, forcing Greater X to go down the middle to defend the position. And Steve Foden's getting stuck in there as well. He's doesn't want to be there. Now then, I did hear I don't know whether on the circuit com's getting excited. That might be our leaders, possibly for a bit of a change of position in a second. So we'll have to switch to them in a moment to see what's happening with them. As they head down the back straight, whether there's been a change between Trott and Fenwick, I'm not sure. Whether or not Trott's hold firm, and it's Allwood, Brewer and Fisher that are kicking off for 3rd, 4th and 5th. Here's that scrap for 6th as they come onto Williams straight. Out of Williams onto the Bentley straight, I'll correct myself. So still 4 minutes to go in this race now, 4 minutes exactly. Now for the lead, here it is. Now Fraser Fenwick is not allowing Brian Trott to relax for a second. They might be teammates, but they can still race hard against each other. They both thump the curbs, but they're both holding on to 1st and 2nd. I imagine it might be 3rd place downwards. That's where the action is. So what's the order as it flashes through the shot? Well, Allwood's still 3rd. Whether 4th and 5th have switched positions, we'll wait and see as they come through the shots. Let's see if we can see them then. So 1st and 2nd come through. There's Trott and Fenwick. What about 3rd, 4th and 5th? What's the order? Is it Allwood still 3rd? It is. Brewer 4th and Fisher 5th. So 3rd, 4th and 5th. It's no change, but it must have been a pretty close moment between them, which must have got Adam Weller excited on the commentary, on the circuit commentary here at Snetterton. So I think we're going to get 2 more laps of MX5 racing here. We've got 3 minutes 15 to go. Look at that. Literally nose to tail. And also I'm seeing that is that a 5-second penalty being applied to someone? Either that's a warning. Now, who's that for? Because it hasn't come on the screen. Right, here we go. It's gone to 2 cars. 1 to number 7 and 1 to 37. Car 7 is Oak Richardson. 37 is Tim Dorr. They're 17th and 18th. They've got 5-second penalties. I imagine that would be for, I think, must be track limits. So track limit penalties for both of them. Still, this battle for 3rd is going on as Fisher tries to get the better acceleration off the corner. Brewer just creeps up behind Allwood and just gives him a knock, and then looking up the inside, Fisher just silently just crept up alongside Jack Brewer, then thought about making a dive into Palmer's, but didn't quite work. So he was getting close, he thought about it, but sat back and thought, well, if I try and do that, I'll catch him off guard and he'll probably turn into me, which is going to be a disaster for both of us. So let's not make contact. Oh, something came off one of the cars there. I think it's nothing important, but something, a piece of loose debris or something came off the car, I think, or like a big piece of rubber. But nonetheless, the battle for 3rd continues between Ollie Allwood and Jack Brewer, and of course this is key for the guys that are around them in the points championship. Guys like Brian Trott, guys like Ollie Allwood and Sebastian Fisher, they need, you know, and this is no disrespect at all meant to Jack Brewer at all. They need Jack to be off the podium and back in 4th and 5th places, and then being ahead of them to try and claw those points back to keep it nice, to keep it as close as possible in the remaining rounds for the championship. They can't allow Jack Brewer to run away with it. They have to try and do what they can. And you always sense a little bit that there's a bit of team tactics going on here, because Ollie Allwood's making it difficult for Jack Brewer as much as possible whilst the top 2 run away. That, I think, is Oak Richardson that's come to a stop on the exit of Brundle Nelson towards the bomb hole. Top 2, I think, have just gone through the right hander there at that point of the circuit before we cut away. Just further back, we've got Graham Rumsey scrapping with Christopher Ginn, and that was also Michael Pearson there too. I think that was between 23rd to 25th position. So battles everywhere you look at in the pack. So we're just over a minute to go. A few seconds before we hit the minute timer on the TSL timing clock. We're going to start our last lap of MX5 racing here this afternoon. Ollie Allwood's pulled a car length or 2 over Jack Brewer and co here as they come down the pit straight. And again, these 2 are working together. They are Brian Trott and Fraser Fenwick. They're going for it here. Now, whether or not they're going to battle on this last lap, we'll have to wait and see, because they are very close together. And I wonder if Fraser Fenwick is possibly just trying to help Brian Trott pick up as many points as he can, because Fraser is behind Brian in the points. So I wonder possibly if he's trying to help him out to get some extra points over Jack. Because, and again, I think Ollie will be trying to make life difficult for Jack as well, particularly now with Sebastian Fisher also trying to get past as well. I did see Fisher in the background was trying to look down the outside of Jack as they came into the Wilson hairpin for the final time. But this will certainly be a pleasing sight for AB Motorsport if Ollie Allwood can hold on to 3rd place. But you sense, are these 2 about to battle? Have they left it to the last lap and thought, right, gloves off, let's go for it? Because Trott's, it doesn't look like a steady run to the finish. These 2, I think, are about to battle here towards the end, where they've been allowed to be let off the leash here. Fraser's looking one way then the other. Either he's just keeping him honest for a bit of fun, or they really are about to go for position here. Through Hamilton, up towards Oggies. Fenix looking, tries to go to the inside. It's hard to tell whether it's just a fun little battle between them, or they really are going to go for it for position, because Brian Trott hasn't won a race so far this year. He's come second close before, many times, but if he does get a victory, it will have been quite a long time coming this season. Onto the back straight for the final time. Is Fenix about to launch an attack, or is he going to sit tight and just let Trott have it? Down towards Brundle Nelson. Again, Trott's not safe. He has to go to the inside line because he knows that Fenix might try it around the outside. Here they come into Brundle Nelson. He's going for it. He has a look, but maybe not. It might be a ruse. It might be a false move, maybe, because those two are going to be key. Now, these two look pretty much well set for third place. Is Allwood still ahead? Is he still ahead of Brewer, or has Brewer managed to get himself back onto the podium? If it's either going to be an AB Motorsport 1, 2, 3, or it will be 2 wins and a third for Brewer, or a trio of third places for Fisher. Here they come then, through the right-hander. Fenix is on the tail of there. I can see in the background, Allwood is still third, but he might well hold on for the second. But as they come towards the pit straight with the help of Fraser Fenix in the tow, he's come close time and time again today, but it might well be a victory, I think, for Brian Trott. They're going to be side by side. He's going to hang back for a second. It is going to be a first win of the year for Brian Trott at last in the MX5 Championship. It's second for Fraser Fenix, and holding on to the line, it is going to be an AB Motorsport 1, 2, 3 for Ali Bray's team. Great job by the squad. They'll be delighted with that. Fourth place, just in the end, went to Jack Brewer. He just held on from Sebastian Fisher. The rest of the motley crew from 6th downwards come past. It's Jason Greatrix who wins that battle from Oliver Graham 7th, Matt Pollard 8th. And then it's Oates and Foden, Craig next, and on the line, Callum Greatrix just stole 12th on the line from Owen Mills by 14 thousandths of a second, and again a photo finish, and that was between Green and Dengate, 24 thousandths of a second. That was over 15th place. Some brilliant last-minute finishes towards the line. All these cars that are grouped together. Oh, the 2 cars went off the road. I think one's Tim Dorr, the other one I think is Bryn Griffiths. I recognise the green and gold of Tim Dorr, and the other one is definitely the blue and gold car of Bryn Griffiths. So I think either they've had separate incidents just going off the road, or they've come together. But either way, both made it to the flag with the other cars around them. So across the line they come. And the last car to come across is going to be Ollie Walden, because we lost sadly Oak Richardson, and Brad Jones retired after 2 laps, which is unfortunate. But either way, there we go. So there it is then, our last MX5 race. I think the happiest man of all, from all of that, is definitely going to be this man. He will have waited for that. Yeah, you can see the smile behind his helmet. He's been waiting a long time for that this year. Finally a first win for Brian Trott. Second place for Fraser Fenix. He'll be delighted to get him back on the podium. And a third place for Ollie Allwood as well. I think the happiest man from that race is certainly going to be Ali Bray and his team. I think the squad are all going to be very, very happy with that. So let's head down to Lindsay. I'm sure it's going to be quite a celebration for the boys tonight. It's a win for Brian Trott at last, second for Fraser Fenix, and a third for Ollie Allwood at AB Motorsport 1, 2, 3 in the last MX5 Championship race of the day. Brilliant stuff.
Right, before these guys get into it, I want a quick word with these two. Brian, you first. That was an unbelievable battle. He kept you very much on your toes.
Yeah, I mean, I got away at the front. I beat Jack off the line again, and this time he couldn't actually get back to me. So I put my head down, and then I saw they were squabbling behind, and I made a bit of a gap. But I know Fraser was quick all weekend. He's been a bit unlucky, to be fair, this weekend, and but he had the pace. And when I saw him coming through, I knew that he's probably going to be coming for me. So I just made sure I had everything in line. And waited for him to catch me, and then I defended like mad. I knew there wasn't long left, about 5 minutes when he got into my bumper, and then I just had to hold him off. But it's a great win. I was happy with that, happy with the whole weekend, to be fair. And yeah, another AB win, so that's great for them, and obviously Team Trott, I wouldn't be here without them as well, so it's all good.
Yeah, you guys have pulled a fabulous weekend off, and Fraser was only 0.1 of a second behind you. Were you getting a little bit nervous? Come on, you've got to tell us.
I've been racing a long time, so I've got a bit of racecraft. He was definitely quicker, but I was able to hold him off in the right places. And to be fair, Fraser didn't do anything dirty. He drove very clean, and it was a great battle to the end.
Brilliant. Well, thank you very much, and congratulations on your win today.
Thank you.
Brilliant. Well, let's try and catch up with Fraser. Fraser, 0.1 of a second behind Mr. Trott. How do you feel?
A lot better. Hopefully this second place stays, but you know, we win as a team. There's a few moves I could have done on him, but they're the ones that you leave for your rivals, not teammates. But no, he drove really well and he knows where to place his car.
So obviously in that race it was pushed very hard. How was it? Because obviously you didn't start there to begin with, but you made a hell of a comeback.
Yeah, you know, even the second race was hard, coming all the way from the back of the grid to get us here. You know, you can't win a race being at the back of the grid. So I had to try as hard as I could in that race, and then I started 8th, and you just work your way through. I got myself there, and I'm really happy with the pace that we got this weekend.
Well, congratulations from us, and we hope to see you in the next round.
Hopefully, thank you.
Right, and if we can find Mr. Ollie Allwood. Ollie, can we grab a quick word with your good self? 3rd place, they made you work for it this weekend, my friend.
Yeah, they did, yeah. It's been a hard weekend. We don't really seem to have had it, to be perfectly honest. So 3rd place is probably as good as it gets, I think. I'm quite happy with that.
Yeah, but you're a very technical driver, and we're at Cadwell next, so should we be expecting big things?
I always expect big things. I'm a racing driver. Yeah, let's hope so. We'll see. We've got a month to sort the engine out, so yeah, we'll come back stronger. Have a go.